Hi everyone. So this is the start of Precalc 11. This is section 1.1, square roots and cube roots of functions on page 2. So let's get started. Evaluate the expression right here. So we're starting with this one. What is 6 squared? Well, 6 squared means that you're going to multiply 6 by itself. 2 times 6 is 36. Okay, there you go. What about this one? How do you read this? Well, that's a root of 36. And that answer is going to be 6. Okay. What about 4 cubed? This one is read as 4 cubed. That would be to multiply 4 by itself 3 times. All right. 4 times 4 times 4 would give you 64. And we have this, which is read as cube root of 64. Or what is that number when you multiply it by itself 3 times gives you 64? And the answer is a 4. Okay. So a few things to talk about on page 3. The root of a number can be expressed in this way, in terms of the radical symbol, and then the n, which is called an index, and then the a, which is radicand. So the whole thing right here, okay, now has a special name. In Math 9, we were talking about a base and exponent, which is together known as a power. So for example, 2 cubed. This one is called the exponent, right? Well, this one is called the base. And together, it is called a power. Now we have something which is similar. When you are talking about using a radical symbol to get the root, that number outside the radical symbol is called an index right here. The number outside, which is this one. Okay? In this one, the n. Well, the number inside is called the radicand right here. Root of n, well, this one is called the radical symbol, okay? And the whole thing is called the radical, all right? So the n is the index, the a is the radicand, the whole thing is the radical. Okay, the radical is the root symbol plus the index plus the radicand. Now, what is this saying? If r squared equals 8, then the root of r is equal to r, and r is greater than or equal to 0. What it's saying is, when you square a number and the answer is a, then the square root of a would be the positive value of r. Well, if r cubed is equal to a, then cube root of a is equal to r, and that could be either negative or positive. Okay, we'll talk about that later, all right? So you will see what I mean. A perfect square is the product of two equal integers. For example, since 6 squared is equal to 36, and root of 36 is equal to 6, we say that 36 is a perfect square, and 6 is the square root of 36. A perfect cube is the product of three equal integers. For example, since 5 cubed is 125, the cube root of 125 is 5, we say that 125 is the perfect cube, and 5 is the cube root. Okay? The principal square root of a number is the positive square root of a number. For example, since 6 times 6 is 36, and negative 6 times negative 6 is also 36. So really, there are two square roots. But then, if you're asked for the principal square root only, it is going to be the positive value. So if your question is like this, the root of 36, then the answer is only positive 6. When is the answer going to be negative 6? When the question is like this, it's asking you to get the square root of 36, and then, which is 6, and then make it a negative, right? So the question is, are there times when the answer would be both? Yep. It's when you see both positive and negative in front of the radical. This is when the answers are positive and negative 6. In general, this is written as the square root of x squared is equal to the absolute value of x. So what it's saying is, if you're getting the square root of a number that is being squared, the answer would be the number itself, but only the positive value. Okay? These two bars represent the absolute value symbol, and it indicates that the number x is positive. So for example, the absolute value of 4 is 4. The absolute value of negative 3 is 3, right? So all it's saying is if you get the absolute value of a number, it would be the positive value or the positive number only that you're talking about. You're sort of dropping the negative sign. And if your question is why is that? Because the absolute value is defined as the distance of a point from the origin, all right? Or the distance of a number from 0. So 4 would be 4 units away from 0. Negative 3 is 3 units away from 0. Okay? That's it for now. I'll return for the tool checker understandings.